enlighten protect me in this battle! May the shadow engulf our enemies! May the enlightened protect me in this battle! Your magic is running out! Take a potion! May the shadow engulf our enemies! May the shadow engulf our enemies! Your armor is falling apart! Be careful, my child! You need healing!
All I did was bring you to the place suggested by the tablets. I had no way of...
Hey, what's happening here? I could hear you from miles away.
Your Excellency, I'm so happy to see you. You arrived right on time to settle this matter.
How did you manage to find us in the middle of this swamp?
Brother Fidelis managed to reach Eden. He's the one who told us where your camp was.
But he didn't leave alone. What happened to Father Orbricus, who was accompanying him?
He must be dead, like our other companions. This is all your fault. This is yet more proof that you are not fit to lead such a team. I should be the one in charge.
Maybe you should calm down and explain to me what's happening here.
This expedition was undertaken with no concern for common sense. We are not equipped to explore this type of place. Our people are disappearing, and all we have found are some falsified writings.
Brother Virgil is terrified, which probably explains why he's being so disingenuous. We have made incredible discoveries, and we could find more.
You are beyond redemption. I won't waste another second talking to you. If you want to talk to me, Your Excellency, it will have to be without her.
How charming.
Your Excellency, I hope you will forgive us for that scene. My relations with Virgil have always been difficult, but ever since we arrived here, it has been unbearable. I'm afraid we may need an arbiter.
Before anything else, I need to know what has led to this situation between you.
What would you like to know?
For what reason were you quarreling?
The expedition itself, I'm afraid. Virgil was always against it, especially under my supervision. For him, our discoveries in Eden were sufficient. They confirmed what he wanted. The rest did not matter. According to him, we should never have continued. And when we found new tablets, it became even worse.
Were they also written by Saint Matthias?
Without a doubt. The handwriting is the same. There are also some patterns, some islander symbols. It's fascinating. But what really angers Virgil is the content we managed to decipher. Our founder explains that he learned a lot from the islanders, something our brother cannot accept. He now persists in saying that these tablets are fake, forged by the natives themselves.
Brother Fidelis told me that several members of the expedition have disappeared.
Yes, that's why he left along with Father Orbricus to fetch some help. 3 more of our colleagues are missing, and I'm not even talking about the ones who fell ill. I must admit that I underestimated the hardships we would encounter. I made a mistake. I should have prepared this expedition more thoroughly. But Virgil's being disingenuous does not help.
And no one has searched for those who are missing.
I wanted us to search for them, but someone later convinced me that it presented too much of a risk. Along with lack of preparation, our constantly decreasing number, and creatures swarming the area.
And by someone, I suppose you mean Brother Virgil.
Indeed.
I'm thankful for these pieces of information. But you understand that I will also have to talk to Brother Virgil.
Of course, that's understandable. You must hear us both before you can make a decision.
Brother Virgil.
What do you want?
Can you explain to me what caused such a quarrel?
The reason for it is very simple. It is Eugenia's folly. This woman should never have been the supervisor of our team. The discoveries made in Eden were sufficient, but no. She didn't want to stop the research. She organized this expedition in a hurry, without taking elementary precautions, and now she's accepting as facts the delirious writings we discovered on these tablets, without doubting them for even 1 second.
What do you mean?
We found some new tablets, allegedly written by Saint Matthias, but their content is so absurd that they were obviously forged. I am certain that the natives must have found these stones before us and modified their content.
How would they have done that? The natives cannot write.
They must have been helped by an unscrupulous settler. How would I know?
Brother Fidelis told me that some of your colleagues went missing. Do you know anything about this?
They did not go missing. They were killed. There was the wild beasts, the diseases, and let's not forget the savages. We can feel their presence, roaming around the camp at night. I am certain that they are responsible for the death of our colleagues.
That's strange. There aren't many villages around here.
There aren't any. There are a few hermits, but they are not fighters. And they have better things to do than roam around their camp at night.
We've been in this region before, and the only native we met was a little insane, but would have been incapable of killing several priests.
Those savages may very well have been following us since our departure. We will not be safe on this island until it is entirely converted.
I see. So, you haven't tried to find your colleagues?
So we can die as well. I am not as crazy as Sister Eugenia.
I cannot take sides in your quarrel for now. And in any case, it is not what matters the most. Even if you think they are dead, we have to try finding your colleagues.
Well, if you are prepared to take such a risk, I can only commend you for your bravery and wish you luck. But I would not get my hopes up. You should start by searching the excavation site. To get there, take the path south of here. But be careful. The creatures that roam the area are ruthless.
May the enlightened protect me in this battle!
Close to is Richne Stiri.
May the shadow engulf our enemies! Your magic is running out! Take a potion!
Close to is Richne Stiri. Drink a potion.
May the shadow engulf our enemies!
The body of this man was devoured by beasts, but it happened after he died. One of the wounds is clearly a knife wound. But alas, it is impossible to know who was wielding it. The body of this man was devoured by beasts, but it happened after he died. One of the wounds is clearly a knife wound. But alas, it is impossible to know who was wielding it. This poor soul was almost entirely devoured. He must have been killed by swamp animals. Even so, this wound looks different from the others. It looks like a knife wound.
You're right. He was stabbed before being fed to the animals. But anyone could have used such a blade.
The cause of death is no mystery. This man was attacked by one of those large reptiles, a Llewellyn. And yet, these iridescent marks on his skin make me think that a stasis spell was cast on him first. He was intentionally immobilized so that he would fall prey to this animal. These fang marks are impressive. The poor man didn't have a chance. He must have been attacked by a large reptile. Most likely a Llewellyn. But what was he doing alone, so far from the camp? This man's death was no accident, nor was it linked to any predator attack. It was caused by a violent strike to the back of the skull with a mace, and it didn't take place here. The marks surrounding the body show that it was moved, most likely to make it seem like he fell to his death. It seems obvious now that these disappearances were orchestrated.
The deaths of these people were a deception. Only the Renaigse are deceitful enough to do such a thing. They kill each other and accuse my people. This Virgil, he wants to push aside this woman at all cost. He must be the culprit.
Indeed. I think that we should go find this brother and ask for an explanation. Brother Virgil.
Your Excellency! Weren't you supposed to be looking for our colleagues?
Indeed. I regret to say that they are indeed all dead.
I knew it. What a waste. Eugenia and her recklessness are to blame for this.
I'm afraid someone else is responsible for this. These deaths are not accidental, and yet they were disguised as such.
The savages! Their thirst for blood is unquenchable. I knew we should never have come without an escort.
Watch your tongue, priest. Our people have no need to hide when they protect their land. Only the Renaigse are deceitful enough to disguise a death.
Who else could it be?
Someone who desperately wanted this expedition to fail. Does that remind you of anyone?
Fine. You unmasked me. But know that my cause is righteous. The Ordo Luminis sent me to keep an eye on this expedition, to ensure that the discoveries we made would not jeopardize our nation or our presence on this island. But the inscriptions on the tablets are a heresy, a dangerous manipulation. Can you imagine what would happen if it was said that our founder listened to the teachings of the natives? But even then, foolish Eugenia accepted these discoveries as truth, without any hesitation, without realizing that our entire nation could suffer because of it. So yes, I wanted to scare her.
I understand that you might want to protect your nation, but to go as far as assassinating several of your colleagues?
Come now. What would you do if someone were threatening the congregation? You cannot make me believe that you would not be willing to kill. You may have already done so. But since you want to avoid using violence, help me convince Eugenia to go back to Eden. My colleagues and I know how to sort through these discoveries. And you will be rewarded, of course.
This Renaigse tried to blame my people for these crimes. The priests would have wanted to punish them, and innocent people would have died. He must answer for his treachery.
It is undeniable that these discoveries could cause a great upset in Thélème. But he has no right to decide what should be revealed or not. On this island, Cornelia should be the one to decide. Be careful with your accusations, though. Eugenia and her colleagues are on edge. We wouldn't want them to start killing each other.
It seems to me that all members of this expedition are concerned. They should decide on what to do next. Nay, what's happening here?
Your brother
He must. This is
Maybe-
this expedition. People are.
Brother Virgil, we have made
You are beyond. If you want to talk.
How chance?
Your Excellency.
Before-
what would?
Brother Fidel.
Yes, I made.
And no one has...
I wanted us along with.
And by someone...
Indeed.
I must leave you. Brother Virgil.
What do you?
Brother Fidel.
They did- and let's-
That's...
And they have better.
We've been... And the only name...
Those we will not.
I see.
So we can.
I must leave you.
Your Excellency, what would you?
For what
The
reason?
with but our he now.
I'm thankful.
Of course.
Brother Virgil,
What do you?
can you explain?
The did she? And now
What do you mean?
We found that their. I am certain
How would they have...
they must have been.
I cannot take... Even if you think...
Well, but I would not get to get there. May the enlightened protect me. May the enlightened protect me in this battle. The magic is running out. Take a potion. Shadow engulf our enemies. May the shadow engulf our enemies.
The body of this man was devoured by beasts, but it happened after he died. One of the wounds is clearly a knife wound. But alas, it is impossible to know who was wielding it. This poor soul was almost entirely devoured. He must have been killed by swamp animals. Even so, this wound looks different from the others. It looks like a knife wound.
You're right. He was stabbed before being fed to the animals. But anyone could have used such a blade.
This man's death was no accident, nor was it linked to any predator attack. It was caused by a violent strike to the back of the skull with a mace, and it didn't take place here. The marks surrounding the body show that it was moved, most likely to make it seem like he fell to his death.
May the enlightened protect me in this battle! It's running out! Take a potion!
The cause of death is no mystery. This man was attacked by one of those large reptiles, a Llewellyn, and yet these iridescent marks on his skin make me think that a stasis spell was cast on him first. He was intentionally immobilized so that he would fall prey to this animal. It seems obvious now that these disappearances were orchestrated.
The deaths of these people were a deception. Only the Renaigse are deceitful enough to do such a thing. They kill each other and accuse my people. This virgin, he wants to push aside this woman at all cost. He must be the culprit.
Indeed. I think that we should go find this brother and ask for an explanation. Brother Virgil.
Your Excellency!
Indeed. I regret to say that...
I knew it!
I'm afraid...
The savage!
Watch your only the...
Who else?
Someone who...
Fine. The Ordo Lu to ensure that the inscription... Can you imagine? But even then, without realizing...
I understand.
Come now. You cannot, but since you are my colleagues...
This are the priests.
It is under... But he has... Be careful with your...
Sorry, Brother Virgil, but I can't... The research... The decision to...
I see.
Alas, I have found the dead bodies of your colleagues.
How horrible! But how? Oh, perhaps I should have listened to Brother Virgil.
I doubt it. Brother Virgil is responsible for these deaths. He was hoping to blame the natives for them and discredit you.
What? But why would he? He will have to answer for his crimes.
As I do not have the authority to arrest him, I sent him back to Eden. If you want him to face judgment, you will have to report what happened to the Mother Cardinal.
You are right. As soon as we get back to civilization, I will make sure that she hears about it. Once more, your help has been a blessing. Take this. Alas, we will have to go back to Eden as well. There are too few of us to continue the research.
Were you hoping to discover more?
Of course. This place was but a single step in St. Matthias's journey. The last tablets speak of a journey northbound, further up in the swamp. But even if Virgil is no longer a threat, we are not sufficiently well equipped to go there.
We could go there for you if you wish. You just have to tell us where to look.
That would be marvelous. Of course, you would have to start from the excavation site where he wrote this. I think I noticed a path going north when I was there, actually. Look for any traces of life. Perhaps you will be lucky enough to find more of his writings. That would be fantastic.
Don't worry. I will conduct this research and come find you here if I uncover anything.
May the Enlightened protect me in this battle! May the Enlightened protect me in this battle! Your magic is running out! Take a potion!
I've never been that far into the swamp, but if I was to live here, I would look for a drier place.
Take a potion. May the shadow engulf our enemies. May the shadow engulf our enemies. May the shadow engulf our enemies. Your magic is running out. Take it back. May the shadow engulf our enemies. May the shadow engulf our enemies. May the shadow engulf our enemies.
A cavern. Hermits often choose places like this when they want to live away from the world. This is incredible. People live here and they want perhaps. We'll have to rummage through this place.
May the enlightened protect me in this battle. Your magic is running out. Take a potion.
No magic left. Drink a potion.
Your magic is running out. Take a potion. Your magic is running out. Take a potion. May the enlightened protect me in this battle.
magnificent. If St. Matthias did come here, this is where he must have settled.
Let's take a closer look at these paintings. We may learn something from them. This mural depicts an old man praying in front of a face in the mountain. He's holding a rosary. Saint Matthias, praying to Enon Milfrichteman. This mural is very ancient. It depicts an old man dressed as a priest, getting his face painted by a masked native. Engraved tablets. They resemble the ones we recovered in Eden. We should take them with us. The researchers would be delighted to study them. It looks like a chaplet made of pewter. It's rather basic, but it was made a long time ago. And it undeniably comes from the continent.
This is incredible. Saint Matthias is often depicted or described as using a similar chaplet. Oh, I feel so lucky to be here, in this cavern where our founder lived.
I do not know these glyphs, but these spirals are native symbols. There are some words in our ancient language next to them. The light and the earth are the two faces of a same power. It's impossible to know if this is a translation or another sentence. But this is a message that would seriously displease the Inquisitors.
I cannot believe it. These symbols, they are signs used in the secret writing of the Donegada.
There are some native symbols here and some letters I recognize, as if someone had tried to write in the native language using our alphabet. Men duistad en on mil frichtemen.
It means, welcome us amongst your people, Enon mil frichtemen.
This is incredible. Saint Matthias would have known about the spirit of the island and would have prayed to him.
I don't know if you realize the importance of what we've just discovered. Saint Matthias, the founder of Thélème, finished his life worshipping the islanders' god. This is so incredible. Although it will cause a huge upset for our nation, our cult, and our relations with the natives.
I wonder what I should do with these relics. Eugenia probably didn't imagine that Saint Matthias lived his life in a way that's so different from what they advocate. As for Virgil, he wasn't wrong. Such a revelation will certainly cause a schism in Thélème.
I understand you must be concerned. Great revelations are often followed by a trail of blood. But if what we found was revealed, my people could live in peace with the priests at last.
I already took sides in their quarrel. If I change my mind, I'm afraid that it might be seen as treason. I'll think about it on the way there. Let's go back to the researchers' camp. Can't do that.